This is a review of Bravely Default,
Woo!
which I just beat
Woo!
after like 2 years.
Twice.
Technically.
So if you didn't know, and you should by now, there's an ending, a normal ending, and then a true ending. You can get the ending anywhere from chapter 5 onward, and the true ending is chapter 8.
We will tell you about it, but you can look it up yourself. Just know that if you are in the middle of Bravely Default and you don't want to play through the game twice, because there is quite a lot of retread tracking, I guess you want to call it. I don't want to spoil too much of it.
Fuck that shit. The game's been out 2 years. So
It's
the
very
first
similar
part.
to Bioshock Infinite has a plot
No.
about
Wait.
parallel worlds.
Wait, that's too much. That's too much spoilers.
That's too much spoilers?
Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Anyway, you have to do the same shit basically 4 times.
Well, you can get a certain ending, the
normal
ending,
ending.
which technically I would say is technically the bad ending,
Kind
without
of.
going through all the repetitions. But if you go through all the repetitions, then you know.
get the worst ending.
Well, the one that actually I think leads to the sequel, because also if you didn't know,
Oh right, he
if you
doesn't
play
know
the-
anything about the sequel.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
I haven't done any research. If you do the old Konami code for Contra, I forget which one it was. It's like forward, down, left, right, something like that. You can look it up too. You can without being in the game unlock the basically the after credit scene in the game. You can do that anytime. I had seen that before I beat the game, but it didn't tell me much. Although a certain character dying at the end of this game made me very sad, but then it made me reverse much more sad when I realized that, actually everyone he ever loved is now dead and he's alone now.
What the fuck? I thought you said no spoilers.
I thought you said it been out for more than 2 years actually.
Wait.
And
I don't remember. It sounds like historical science.
you sound like historical science.
I know.
Mm. Sorry.
On that note, nerds, I'm gonna go castrate him.
That is not a review on the game. Well, no, don't pull it up yet. Okay, so if you don't know about this game, it's an RPG. It's basically a reimagining of Final Fantasy like 1 or 2, really. It has an intricate battle system that's turn-based, but allows you to either default, which is basically don't do anything, increase your defense, and save your turn for later, or use up to 4 turns in a row by sacrificing your nets however X amount of turns you want, adding up to 4.
The game is super fun. If you haven't played it and you like old school RPGs, you'll love it.
It actually breathes new life into JRPGs. It allows you to heavily customize your setup, and you only have 4 characters, which is unheard of for most JRPGs, but you get to change their classes after you beat a boss that has that class. And there's how many classes?
13, I think.
13. I think there's more than that. I thought there was like 16.
Nah, it's gotta be like 13.
There's a lot of classes. You have the very classic black mage, white mage, they have a knight, things like that, but they have a lot of other unconventional classes, like a vampire, or say a solve maker, or a swordsman. So it's actually really cool, and you'll actually get really attached to certain setups and certain ways of playing. About 140 hours into it, I decided for a setup, and I stuck with it. Even when I changed classes and changed setups around, I still had the same basic strategy, and that's how I beat the game both times. It reverts you back to, basically if you beat it the normal way, it reverts you back to right before you made the decision that creates that ending, and then it lets you do another thing, and then you get the much more drawn out scenario for the ending. Yeah, there are a lot of games that have done that. If you ever play Deus Ex Human Revolution, it has 4 different endings that work like that.
It is absolutely tedious to go through the chapters at a certain point, especially if you want to do all the side stuff. The good note is, none of the side stuff is mandatory. If you skip all of the side stuff, you were neutering the game for yourself, and I don't know why you're even playing it. But
you won't have as much fun. The story is something you can take seriously, and it gets pretty macro at a point. It's just like, wow. I mean, they put a lot of energy and focus into it, even though they did do a lot of rehashing of areas and voice acting and stuff. The game, as it is pretty engrossing. And especially if you have any affinity towards JRPGs that are turn-based, or think that maybe you could get into an RPG, but like that regular turn-based stuff just isn't working, or you really love strategy in general, I definitely say check it out. It's basically the new Final Fantasy, and it comes out a year prior in Japan whenever they do sequels, apparently. Just a week ago, the sequel came out, Bravely Second. They ironically thought that Bravely Default wasn't going to sell very well in the West because JRPGs aren't very popular in the West, apparently.
Sequel!
And it sold tremendously well. It was probably one of the games that sold the most on 3DS. And then they're like, oh no, Americans probably won't like Bravely Second. We'll just keep it in Japan for a year. And now it's out. And I've had to wait because I thought I was gonna beat the game, and then it fucking okie doked me. And actually, it basically took me like 5 more hours. I basically spent like over the 2 years I had this game, I spent about 180 hours on it.
Oh wait.
I don't know if that sounds like a waste to you. It doesn't sound like a waste to me.
Sequel!
But yeah, we're about to pop in the sequel.
Sequel. On that note, nerds, talk to you soon. Beep.